to start our solution, same on what we did from the previous, no, you have to um, identify the number of particles, no, that are present in the system. And for this problem, it's obvious that we have two particles of interest, which are bodies A and B. Identifying, no, the number of bodies or particles, you're going to construct FBDs for each of these body. And we'll start with the FBD of body or block A. For block A, we have its weight W, and then we have tension here. We're going to label this as E sub A. Now, if we're going to analyze systems that are in motion, we need to indicate the direction of motion. And for our system here, take note, class, that we have this kind of arrangement of our pulleys in which, by observation, class, the acceleration of these two blocks are different. Kung sa may rason nga nung lahi naman. Because we introduce a secondary pulley which is being attached to our main pulley here, kaning nasa taas. So do not expect that both blocks have the same acceleration as well as displacement and density. Now let's analyze the system so that we can have an idea on where these blocks will move. Like for example, block A. Does block A move upwards or downwards? Or si block B ba maoy mo pull down ni A? So we have to um, perform some rough static analysis for this one so that makahibaw ta og asa ni sila mo move. Okay. Now, if we um, assume this as a static equilibrium state, then if the weight of A is 300 pounds, it is understood that the tension here is 300, and on the other side of the rope, this is also 300, provided that the pulley is frictionless. Now, let's proceed to the lower pulley. In the lower pulley, it supports this 200-pound block, and so the tension being experienced on the left side of this pulley is equal to the weight. Okay, we will not consider yet the effects of acceleration this time. Okay, whereas on the other side, class, assuming that this pulley is frictionless, the force here is also 200 pounds. Okay, and if we take the summation of forces at this pulley, the lower pulley, we can say that um, the upper force is 300, whereas the lower is the combination of these 200 pounds, which is in total, that is 400 pounds. Okay, total 400 pounds. And with this, there's a difference in force. No, there's a net force because we pull a 200 pounds on this pulley, the weight of block A. At the same time, with this arrangement, class, no, we have total of 400 pounds being exerted by block B and this side of the pulley that is being anchored and in lowering a structure. With this difference, we can say that the 200-pound block here nga nasa abos can pull block A upwards. No, it can pull block A upwards because it has a net force of 100 pounds. No, the difference between 300 and 400 is 100 pounds. So it has a net downward force of 100 pounds. That is why uh, it can um, pull block A upwards. Now, let's trace the motion. If block A will be pulled upwards, so this rope here will move downwards, and at the same time, the movement of this stone block will also be downwards. Okay, so this arrow indicates our direction of motion, and we are going to use this one in our FBD. Class, if there are changes, for example, if we arrive a negative value for our acceleration, the reason of that would be the the assumed direction of our motion. If it is negative, therefore the true direction of motion is opposite to our assumed direction of motion. Okay, so we are done with the static analysis. Next is we will continue no, the FBD of block A. Since from our static analysis we found out that block A will move upwards, then we're going to indicate the direction of motion here. So it's this is D O M. And this one will also be the direction of its acceleration. We're going A sub A. Now, let's perform summation of forces. Summation of forces along the vertical axis is equal to the mass of block A over G times the acceleration. Now, this is the equation for the Alembert principle. Then we will indicate the sign convention. So we're going to treat force as positive if it uh, if it is directed no along the direction of motion. Okay, there are only two forces. We have the tension at A and its weight. Therefore, we're going to subtract these two because have opposite direction. Is TA minus weight of block A is equals to its mass times the acceleration. Take note that TA is unknown, and then the the weights are given. Now, the weight as well as G. We're going to plug in the values. Weight of A is 300, so this is TA minus 300 is equals to 300 over 32.2 times the acceleration. This would be our equation 1. Now, let's proceed to the FBD of block B. For block B, we only have two forces, no? The weight of block B and the tension. We are going to denote this as TB. And from our static analysis earlier, we found out that this block B will move downward. Therefore, its direction of motion is downward. Direction of motion. And this would be the direction of its acceleration labeled A sub E. Next, form again summation of forces along the vertical axis. That is equals to its mass multiplied by its corresponding acceleration. Then indicate the sign convention. It must follow the direction of motion, which is downwards. Okay, let's indicate the forces that acts along the vertical axis. When you have two, no, the weight of B, which takes the positive sign, minus the tension at B, is equal to the mass times the acceleration. Next, we're going to plug in the values. The weight of block B is 200. This 200 minus TB is equal to um, 200 over 32.2 times the acceleration of b. This would be our second equation. By looking at these two equations, there are one, two, three, four. Okay, there are four. There are four unknowns class. We have the tension at B and the tension at A as well as the acceleration. We need to find another equation that will um at least reduce the number of unknowns class no. At least reduce the number of unknowns. And we're going to explore that one in the next slide. Okay. Let me write again the two equations. Equation one, we have TA minus 300 is equals to 300 over 32.2 times the acceleration. Then equation 2, we have 200 minus TB is equals to 200 over 32.2 times the acceleration. Okay, now we will focus on the acceleration. No? We'll focus on the acceleration. How can we um, combine the two accelerations as a single acceleration? Or how can we relate the acceleration of A in terms of B and vice versa? No? So we're going to relate AA and AB. If we can find a way to relate these two, then we can reduce the number of unknowns in our two equations. No? Now, the big question or the big challenge is how can we relate these two accelerations and where or in which part of our system are we going to use in order to relate this? What do you think, class? Asa man ka diri ah? Now, we will focus on the lower pulley, no? At the lower pulley, at the lower pulley class, this is our lower pulley, and this pulley is being suspended by this rope, no, that connects our block A. At the same time, na ay nakaspend rope that connects our B. Okay. Now, to relate acceleration of A and B, we will start our analysis with the displacement. No, we're going to simulate, relate the displacement, and then next is its velocity, and finally its acceleration. Okay, class, please uh, part, no, because this is very crucial, especially when you solve problems that involves compound pulleys. Okay, now, if this rope, no, that connects block A will displace an amount, let's say S sub A, no, if it will displace some amount of S sub A, what will happen to the rope, no, that connects or yeah, that connects B and also naka-anchor siya sa structure. Now, if we like pack a point, no, on our rope that connects A, let's say this is its starting point, and then it places a displacement equal to SA, if we're also um, going to track a point on our block B, say here, what will happen? Now, pag move niya class, say this our pulley. Pag move ani, say this is first point and second, and then this is the first point. No, what it does is um this point, no, it will of course um mo rotate diri ano mo rotate, and then mabutang na siya diri okay, this is its second point. Like gamay nga sibog or gamay nga bira sa taas, kani siya is mukaduha na siya because it will um it will rotate, no, kani siya nga point mo rotate siya, no, around pulley twice, or um sa left, no, mo displace siya sa left, okay, this is S1. At the same time, mo mo kanang rotate siya sa pulley, and then na po siya displacement diri ang S sub 2, which is equal to SA. Equal to SA. Take note that um, the pulley is rigid, and at the same time, we'll assume that this one is also rigid. Therefore, ang linear displacement ani nga system are the same. No, the same siya for both this upper rope and this lower rope. Ang nahitabo lang sa side sa B is that kaduha na ya displacement. Unlike sa kaning rope that connects A, it only has one displacement, and that is equal to SA. But sa block B, since we have a rope here and following that they have equal displacement, no, kaning duha ka ropes, then mo displace siya sa left side og S1, and at the same time mo displace pagid siya sa right side og S2. And S1 is equal to S2, which is equal to SA. Okay, which is equal to SA. Class, you can try this one, no? Like, you can create this system, and then you found out that um, if imong birahon ang upper portion glass, no? If you pull the upper portion, what happens is, kusog kay ni molihok ning ubos, no? Kusog ni siya molihok. So, ikaduha siya. Like, one displacement of the upper rope will create twice with displacement for the lower rope because of this one. Now, F1 is equals to F2, which is equal to Fa. Because if we are going to calculate, no, the total displacement of block B, well, from this diagram, that is the sum of S1 and 2. And since 1 and S2 are equal to SA, then we have SA plus SA that is equal to 2, which means that um, for every displacement of block A, the displacement of block B will be twice of that. And using this relation that the displacement of block B is twice of that of A, then if you take the derivative of this with respect to time, okay, well, we can arrive the um, uh, the velocity, no, the instantaneous velocity. We can say that the velocity of B is also twice of the velocity of A. And if we take again another derivative with respect to time, we can come up with this equation that the acceleration of block B is also twice of that the acceleration of A. And this is what we need for our equations above. Nga sa kani, we can reduce the number of unknowns. Okay? So, do you have any question, class, with regards to the analysis at the lower pulley? And the reason why the displacement of D is twice of that of A? Do you have any question so far? Hello? Hello? Are you still in our lecture?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yes, sir. So just ask na if ever ay part nga nalibog. No? Just raise your hand. Okay, if you don't have any question with regards to this one, let's continue. No, let's continue. Now, our two equations will now become TA minus 300 is equal to 300 over 32.2. And then, since the problem requires us to solve for AB, then we're going to modify this one. Like, we're going to substitute the acceleration of A to be half of that of B. We're going to substitute here AB over 2. And this will become TA minus 300 is equal to 300 divided by 2, that's 150 over 32.2 times the acceleration of B. This would be our new equation now for 1. Then for the second equation, we have 200 minus T sub B is equals to 200 over 32.2 times the acceleration of B. This would be our second equation. But if we look at the unknowns, no, the number of unknowns, we still have three unknowns, no, which are TA, TB, and the acceleration at D. We still need to find another equation, no, one more equation in order for us to solve this unknown. Or maybe, same with what we did with acceleration, maybe we will find a way to relate tensions, no, TA and TB. Okay? Mana, mana siya ang next na to. How do we relate TA and TB? That would be for the next slide. No? We're going to relate TA and TB. Kasama sa nato siya i-relate. Well, the only part in our system where we can relate these two is at the lower pulley. No, we're going to create an FBD of the lower pulley. Our pulley, we have the tension at A, and then here we have the tension at B. Okay. Now, our lower pulley will accelerate downwards. Okay, will accelerate downwards. This is the direction of motion. But from the problem, it is stated here that this pulley is weightless. Therefore, if we take the summation of forces along vertical, that is equal to the the weight of the pulley over g times the acceleration, By the way, the acceleration of this lower pulley is the same as block A. So we can put here A sub A. It read positive if the force is pointing downwards. Now, there are three forces no, along the vertical, and TB will take the positive sign. So here we have 2TB minus TA is equal to, from the problem, the pulleys are frictionless and weightless. Therefore, the right side of our equation becomes 0. And so, we have this relation that TB is just half of TA. And we're going to use this relation so that we can reduce the number of unknowns to our two equations. Okay, therefore equation 1 becomes TA minus 300 is equals to 150 over 32.2 times A sub B. And then for the second equation, we're going to substitute TB in terms of TA. We have here 200 minus 1 half TA is equals to 200 over 32.2 times AB. Then we're going to rearrange this such a way that it starts with TA followed by AB. And then on the right side of the equation will be our constant. So TA becomes TA minus 150 over 32.2 times AB is equals to 300. This is our equation 1. Then this one, we have, we're going to transpose this on the other side and then we flip the equation. This will become 1 half TA plus 200 over 32.2. AB is equal to 200. This is our equation 2. Then combine the two equations, class. You can use the two equations, two unknowns in your cycle. And then solve the values of TA and AB. This will go to two equations, no, to unknown solver. Input the coefficients TA 1 negative 150 divided by 32.2, then 200, then 1 half, then 200 divided by 32.2, and then 200. Okay, TA is 327.27 pounds, whereas AB is 5.85. This is FPS squared. This is the value of our acceleration at B. And I think the answer that I've shown here for AB, it's negative because last time we assumed that um, the block A can pull no block B upwards. But as we perform static analysis, the truth is block B um, can pull block A in the opposite direction. And that is why we end up with a positive value of our acceleration at B, which is 5.85. So like they have the same magnitude, they only differ with the sign. Here we have a negative, but here since we um, have a correct assumption no, with regards to our direction of motion, which is downwards, which means that block A no has the capability to pull block A upwards. Therefore, we have a positive value of our acceleration, which is 5.85. Do you have any question, class? Do you have any question with regards to the problem? By the way, this pulley arrangement though is very important. Like by inspection, um, we have a block whose weight is 300 pounds, and then if you want to um, if you want to pull this no by a force which is lesser than the weight, which is 300, you can do that by using this kind of setup to our pulley. Like here, no, if our input force is at block B, so it only requires us a an input force of 200 pounds, which is lesser than the the weight that we want to hold, no, or that we want to pull. Like 200 lang siya instead of 300. Because if we do not use this kind of setup, we will end up pulling, no, we will end up pulling this 300-pound block, no, by an amount equal to its weight if we want to have a constant velocity. However, if we try to increase the speed, well, we need to exert a force which is higher than the weight of block A. But because of this setup, wherein we introduce a secondary pulley in our system, we reduce the effort. No, we reduce the effort. Instead of 300 or higher, we use a lower value, which is 200 pounds, as shown in block B. And this slightly smaller value can still or has the capability to pull a weight which is larger value than our input force, and still we we achieve an acceleration, and in our problem here that is equal to 5.85. I think that's already a uh, a larger acceleration, like 5.85 feet per second square, which is not bad for this kind of setup. Okay, do you have any question, class, before we proceed to the next lesson? Napay pangutana? Absent. Wala na? Okay, so I think silence means yes. Now let's proceed to the next lesson. The next and the last lesson for this module, no? Wherein uh, we we analyze a rigid body or rigid body system this time. So like the last lesson, it's all about particles. Here, it's all about rigid body. The dimension of our body is of important. Okay, so category A, aside from taking summation of moments, aside from using the Lambert's principle, we will also utilize summation of moments here in order for us to um, find the dimensions, maybe dimensions or maybe unknown forces. So it's like ay nadagdag nga um, dynamic equilibrium equation, which is the summation of forces. Okay, for this lesson, you will be able to apply these two important concepts when analyzing or when performing kinetic analysis. You are going to apply the Lambert's principle and the moment principle in solving rigid body under dynamic equilibrium, and specific only for translation. Okay, so how do we analyze rigid body. First, we're going to um, compare no, the analysis as a particle and the analysis as a rigid body. So here we have these three figures. Now, if an object is assumed as a particle during rectilinear motion, um, all the forces no, that interacts the object are aligned on the axis that coincides the particle at the center of gravity. However, that is not the actual case. Like, for example, in this first picture, we will assume that the applied force shown in green arrow is directed at the center of gravity. And during our during our lecture, no, for the analysis of a particle, um, well, we um we know that the frictional force, no, exists at the contact surface, no, at the contact surface between our object and this horizontal surface. But for a particle analysis, we'll assume that all the forces, regardless of its point of application, regardless of its location in our particle, we um, put all these external forces, no, we put all these external forces at the center of gravity as shown in the second figure. So here we move the location of the frictional force from the lower portion of our body to the center of gravity. Plus, this analysis is valid as long as the the object, no, the size of the object is very small compared to its path. Okay, the dimensions are not significant. This is valid. However, if the object is large enough compared to its um, track or its path of motion, then I think this kind of analysis is not valid anymore because changing the location or the point of application of the frictional force greatly affects the analysis as shown on the third figure. It's like if the body no has if the body is very large enough, like this block, if its height is uh, very large enough, well, the applied force no the applied force now has a tendency to to overturn no to overturn this body. Same goes with the frictional force. It can also contribute to this um case, no, like mag-overturn siya. Okay, and aside from these two, there are still other external forces that may affect the body, which can overturn this system. So like this kind of setup is usually makita nato sa real life, no? Especially for objects whose dimensions are significantly bigger, no? So of the order of importance. That is why the analysis as a rigid body no is very important po. Okay? So diri naanay moment ka mahitabo. O naanay moment because naanay tendency ang object nga mo rotate because of the unbalanced forces that exist as well as naanatay moment arm nga na-produce. It's like the external forces are now very, very far from the center of gravity, which can create no a moment because if all the external forces if all the external forces acts the center of gravity, then we don't have any net moment. Kung ang tanan lang yun mo act at the center of gravity. And that's the beauty for the analysis as a particle. No, puro lang ta dito as summation of forces. But in reality, we cannot guarantee na sure nga ang external forces no mo act lang siya sa center of gravity because it depends on the design of our object and its dimensions and how you install this one into your system, or maybe it could be a certain machine element that you install in your machine or in your engine. So like you cannot guarantee na tanang external forces mo act sa centroid. Therefore, expect that we really have a net moment for this one. Okay. With that, uh, we need to analyze no um, a rigid body, and the main question is how. No? Does it have the same procedure as analysis of particle? Probably, but there are some specific concepts or conditions that we want to follow, no? Which is only specific for analysis as a rigid body. And let's explore this one here in the slide. Okay, here, let's assume that we have a cart. We have a cart here with known weight, so like W here, and we have frictional forces F1 and F2 that exist on the wheels, and we also have the reaction forces on the wheels. Reaction forces came from the surface, no, this horizontal surface, and then this P1 shown in green arrow would be our applied force, applied external force. It's like we are going to pull this card so that it will move to the right. Now, the first step when we do analysis as a rigid body is that we're going to uh, indicate no the external forces, and we want to highlight the position of each of these external forces because it is very significant later the dimensions, the locations of these external forces no helps us to quantify the moment na iyang ma-produce. Remember that moment needs moment arm, and um moment arm is associated with the length no the length or distance, therefore importante ang dimension. That's the first step, no? Well, it's like a step that you have already undergone in statics. Like you have to indicate, no, for an FED, you have to indicate the external forces. That's the first step. I think it's the same with analysis of particle. The second one is you have to sum up all the external forces using the Lembert's principle. The summation of forces is equal to the mass times, I forget to put here the acceleration. So like mass times acceleration. And then um, following the Allenbert's principle, this resultant force can now be placed at the center of gravity. Okay. Again, what makes the resultant force different from the individual external forces is that we can put this one at the center of gravity. However, for the other external forces, we cannot class out. We cannot transfer all those individual external forces at the center of gravity because you can violate the rules, no. But for the resultant, you can do that, no. You can put that one at the center of gravity by the Lembert's principle and other principles applied for dynamic equilibrium. Next is following the Lembert's principle. If we have a resultant force, no, if the system is moving, then the equilibrium force in your physics class, the equilibrium force has the same magnitude with the resultant, but in the opposite direction. We call this the equilibrium force as the reverse effective force, the REF. No, so the REF again, it has the same magnitude with the resultant, but in the opposite direction. Here in the figure, our resultant is to the right. For what reason? Because our resultant always, no, always pointing to the direction of the acceleration. But the reverse effective force, or the REF, will oppose this resultant force. And what's the reason why we still need the REF? Well, the REF is the quantity that we can experience in real life. It's like musakay mo og bus, pag accelerate na niya, mura jud kag ma-pull backwards, and that's the REF that you experience. Okay, that's the REF that you experience. Okay, once you indicate the REF, no, like we remove all the external forces for simplicity. Well, you can now erase the resultant force because um, the resultant force was already um, been corrected or been carried out by the REF. Okay, so by having an REF to the system now can be analyzed as a dynamic equilibrium. So it's like you can now perform class the summation of forces, let's say along horizontal, is equals to zero. You take positive if it if all the forces if the force is pointing to the right. You can now use this one. It's like, uy, asa naman diri sir ang mass times acceleration? Ang mass times acceleration for this part was already been carried out by the REF. So you don't need to put mass times acceleration here once you have already indicated the REF. So make sure to note that one. Okay? So dynamic equilibrium condition is the same as static equilibrium condition in case of their equation, no? Na, like equal to zero na. Yeah. Again, this is valid if you have already indicated the reverse effective force. Then after that, once you apply this dynamic equilibrium, like the summation of forces, you can use this one class to find the unknown forces. Now, if it is in terms of like you are going to require to solve the dimensions, well, you really need to apply the moment principle. It's like to take summation of moment at any point on our rigid body, and that is equal to zero. Then you take positive if the moment is like, or if the force will produce a counterclockwise moment. Again, it is zero because in this lesson class, we neglect some rotational motion. We'll focus on translational motion. Wala pata dire ay rotational motion. That is why this one is still valid. No? Summation of moment, the net moment will not produce any rotational acceleration. Okay, so these are the steps that you're going to carry out when you analyze rigid body. Now, let's try those steps, no, and answer this problem. Okay, we have here the uniform block shown in the figure, weighs 200 pounds. Then it is pulled up the incline by the force P equal to 300 pounds. This one P. The requirements are determine the maximum and the minimum values of D so that the block does not tip over as it slides up the incline. The coefficient of friction is zero point. Now, for this problem class, I will show you two cases now. Two cases. So, two cases. The first case, the first case is that if we're going to increase the value of our d, which is the distance of this force p from the inclined plane, there is a huge possibility that if we're going to slide, or if we're going to move this block up the inclined plane, it will overturn in a counterclockwise direction, like this one. This is P, and you have the distance D. Well, na-extend siya na siya, class, no? Para makita niyo nga, ni-overturn siya in a counterclockwise direction. No? Kung taas na siya. Okay? Now, wait, sorry. Bali siya, sorry. If taas, dili siya mo counterclockwise, but rather clockwise dahil, sorry. Nabali siya. Kuha ni siya, class. Clockwise. Like this one. Tungod kay taas na siya, no? Okay, let's draw it again. This one. Like, if you position the force P, no, at a distance D, which is like slightly higher, no, from the center of gravity, like nilapas na kasi ang center of gravity, then most likely it will overturn in a clockwise direction. Like, matumba na siya in this direction. That's the first case. No, here we can measure the maximum value of our D. That's the first case. The second case, is that if we position P in a way that it is very closer to the inclined surface, what happened is that um we don't have enough, no, we do not have enough support for this block to move in a stable position, in a stable manner. Like, doon na kay Ampi, no? Doon Ampi, with respect to the inclined surface, we do not have enough force that can support the 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 block, no, in the right position, in an upright position with respect to the inclined plane, because dikit na kayo ang P with respect to the inclined surface. And so, there is a tendency that it will overturn in a counterclockwise direction. Okay? Mo na siya ang mahitabo, class. It's like the position of P is now below the center of gravity. Okay? Here, we can calculate the minimum value of our D. And these two cases, mo na siya ang ato i-consider when we analyze this rigid body. Okay? It's a rigid body because the dimensions of this body is very significant when we do summation of moments later. Okay. So, class, do you have a question so far? Na sabta na ni?
Siguro siya, sir.
Good, Sarah? Okay. Now, let's analyze, no, each of these cases, and we'll start with the first case. First case. First case. This is what happened for the first case. It will overturn in a clockwise direction. We have P here, and we have the distance P max. And of course, we have the weight, no? We have the weight here. But before that class, no, sorry, before we proceed to this analysis, no, I think we need to follow, no, we need to follow the steps. Okay, we need to follow the steps. And the first step class applies for the two cases. We will construct an FBD first. FBD of the block. FBD of the block, in which we indicate the external forces. You know, we indicate the external forces, and then our goal here is to solve for the resultant force, because that will serve as the uh, the value of our reverse effective force, which is the REF. Okay, this is our block. This is our force P, and then here we have the weight, and then we will resolve this weight into two components. One is um, normal, then the other one is parallel to the inclined plane. And we have here the angle, this is 4 3. If this is theta, this one is also equal to theta. And of course, we have a normal force here, N. And since from the problem, it is stated that this block will slide up the incline, the direction of motion is upward. Direction of motion. In the problem class, we are also given with the coefficient of friction. Therefore, expect that we have a resisting force in our system. And since we already indicated the direction of motion, we also indicate the acceleration here. Then the direction of the frictional force, no, is downward. So we have here F sub F. Okay. Now we are going to again determine the the resultant force here, no? The resultant force here. So like summation of the resultant force is equal to um mass of the block, so like weight of the block over g times its acceleration. But class, we cannot use this formula. For what reason? Okay, we treat positive if the force is um directed up the inclined plane. We cannot use this formula class, no, from our D'Alembert's principle, like the right side of our equation, because we don't have a value for our acceleration yet. And based on this one, um, yeah, we can solve it later. But at the moment, given that we are only um, have the external forces as our available parameters, then we cannot use this one at the moment. Therefore, we will use the left side of our equation, which is taking the summation of those external forces that are given. So here we have summation of the external forces is equal to, again, we have the force P minus the parallel component of the weight minus the frictional force. Okay, the force P was already given, that's 200 pounds. The parallel component of the weight can also be determined. For the frictional force, we need to take summation of forces along the normal axis of our inclined plane. So summation of forces along the normal axis is equal to 0. The reason why it's 0 because we don't have any motion normal to the inclined plane. Positive if it is um thing no in this direction. Next, atong i-identify ang mga external forces that acts along the normal axis. We have here the normal force, no, which is equal to the normal component of the weight, which is the weight of the block times the cosine, no, the cosine of theta. And using this smaller right triangle class, using this smaller right triangle, if this is 4 and this is 3, well, the hypotenuse of this uh, small right triangle is 5. And what's the cosine of theta here? That's 4/5. So like the weight of the block is 200 multiplied by 4/5. So like 200 times 4/5, 200 divided by 5 is 40 times 4. So like it's 160, no? It's 160. 200 divided by 5 times 4. So it's 160. 160 pounds. This is the value of our normal force. And by applying the principle of friction, we can say that the frictional force is equal to the coefficient of friction times the normal force. That's zero point 0.2 times 160. That is equal to mm, 32, 32 pounds. Okay. Now let's continue finding the value of the resultant force. We have force P, which is equals to 200. Let me write this one first. Then the parallel component of the weight is the weight of the block times the sine of theta minus the frictional force. Let's substitute the values. Force P is 300 minus the weight of the block is 200. Then the sine of theta from our small right triangle, that's 3/5. And then minus the frictional force equals to 32. Okay, let's solve one. 300 minus 200 times 3/5 minus 32. So we have 148 as our resultant force. 148 pounds. We will use this one class. Okay. And this will also serve as the value of our reverse effective force. 148 pounds. We will indicate the direction here. This is up the inclined plane. But for the case of the reverse effective force, this 148 pounds is down the inclined plane. Okay. We will use this value class for both cases. Okay. Now, let's proceed to the first case. Uh, First case. This will happen if we increase the height of the point of application of P. We have here P, and this is our D max. And we'll also indicate the reverse effective force. So the REF now is acting at the center of gravity. We put here REF. What else? We will also um, indicate the weight, no? So this is our weight, W. We can also resolve this into two components. We have the normal component and the parallel component. If this is theta, this one is also equal to theta. And also the frictional force here, F sub F. Now for the first case class, we will specify that um, this moment at this moment class, our block has the tendency to overturn in a clockwise direction, no? Clockwise direction. And gina-exage lang nako diri ang class ha. Nanay gap, no? Nanay gap diri nanay gap. Ano gap class? I-assume nga ang point of contact between the block and the inclined surface is usara this this point ra. And nara dira ang frictional force nag-act, no? And we will assign this as point O, no? Point O. Okay. If this is the case, class, therefore, we don't have a normal force. Why? Okay, wala naman nag-contact na. Well, na normal force, point O. But at the surface, no, of our, at the bottom surface of our block, wala na siya. Okay? Sa ato, in our analysis, no, we assume that uh, the moment that it will overturn in a clockwise direction, so like, nana siya ay gap. Okay? Wala na yung normal force niya ni. And with that, find the value of D, we make use of the summation of moment. So like, summation of moment O, no, kanatong indicate nga point O, is equal to 0. We take positive if the force can produce a clockwise moment. The reason why I choose clockwise so that my P here, no, my force P here, which is associated with D max, is positive. But class, you can also stick to the counterclockwise. Still, we arrive the same answer. Okay. Uh, let's identify no the forces that can produce a clockwise moment. So here we have our force P, and class, do not worry with the gap because the angle here is very very small to the point that the the distance, no, the perpendicular distance, especially this D, no, is still perpendicular with respect to the incline. Okay? It lang that the angle here is very small. Ako lang kipadako diri so that makita ninyo nga naay gap. Okay. Again ha, do not be confused. Kaya ba mo, di naman siya parallel ang force spacer because of this gap. Well, gamay rin na siya. Very small na siya. Okay. Now let's continue. The moment of force P, we have D sub max times T. Then, the frictional force cannot create a moment because uh, it acts to the moment axis directly, so the moment arm. Well, let's proceed to the normal component of the weight. So the normal component will produce a counterclockwise, so it's negative, so minus Wn multiplied by its distance. So since the weight is um thing at the center of gravity, that's half of the width of the block. So that's 1 foot. And then the parallel component, no? The parallel component, by the way, nani siya sa taas, no? Ako lang iputong diri but since it acts at the center of gravity, so nani siya diri ano, W sub P. And since it is located kind of above the the moment axis or the moment point, then it can produce a counterclockwise. So minus kaya po na siya. So minus W sub P. Then its moment arm is half of the height, that is 2 feet. And then the reverse effective force. So the reverse effective force also produce a counterclockwise moment, so like minus the REF times its location is the center of gravity, therefore it's half of the height. That's 2 feet is equal to 0. Okay. And I think given naman ito na, no, the normal component of the weight and the parallel component, then we can solve for the D max. So D max is equal to Wn. Okay, we're going to transpose all the constant to the right side. So we have Wn plus 2Wp plus 2Ref all over the force P. Okay. The the normal component of the weight is equal to the weight times the constant of theta. We will draw again the right triangle. This is theta. This is 3, this is 4, and this is 5. So we have here 200 times the the cosine, so that's 4/5, then plus 2 times the parallel component, that's 200 times the sine of theta, that's 3/5. Then plus 2 times the reverse effective force is 148 all over the value of p, that's 300. Okay, let's input this one in our cycle. We have 200 times 4/5 and plus 2 times 200 times 3/5 plus 2 times 148 divided by 300. So the maximum distance is 2.32, which is slightly higher, no? 2.32 feet, slightly higher than the location of the center of gravity, because the location of the center of gravity is 2 feet. 2 feet. Therefore, ang imo lang dapat i-increase is like 0.32 feet lang with respect to the center of gravity. Do not go higher than 2.32 because most likely good glass matumba gid siya in a clockwise direction. Nakuha? So this would be the maximum height. Now let's proceed to the second case. No? Let's finish the problem. I know it's already past 16 minutes from 8. For the second case, second case, we're going to determine the sorry, the minimum distance d. Nga mo overturn siya in a clockwise direction. So we'll draw the block again. Then we'll position P here. This is P, and this is D sub minimum. Then this is now our new moment point O. Then at the center of gravity, we have the reverse effective force. We have the parallel component of the weight, and here we have the normal component of the weight. This is our data, and we have the frictional force. Okay, so mora man na siya, no? Then we will take summation moment at O. This would be our new moment point now, because for the second case, it will overturn the block in a counterclockwise direction. So, kani mo ay magdagpugong kani nga point. Now, summation of moment at O is equal to 0, positive, if the force can produce a clockwise moment. So, gina-clockwise na ako so that I will have a positive sign for my force P. Okay, so si force P, if this is our moment point, it can produce a clockwise moment. So we have here D minimum times P. Now let's proceed to the normal component of the weight. Since the normal component is na siya sa right side of our point O, then it can produce a clockwise moment. So like plus Wn times its distance, its perpendicular distance from this point is half of the width. So that's 1. Then for both the reverse effective force and the parallel component, both produces a counterclockwise moment. Therefore, both receive a negative sign. So starting with the parallel component, that's minus. Its distance from O is half of the height. So minus 2 times WP. And then minus 2 times the reverse effective force is equals to 0. Therefore, the minimum value of our distance d is equal to the parallel component minus the normal, and then plus twice the reverse effective force all over force P. Then we substitute the values. So we have 2 times the parallel component is equal to the weight times the sign. So like 200 times the sign of theta. Remember, this is our theta. This is 5. 200 times 3/5. And then minus the normal component is 200 times the cosine, that's 4/5. Then plus twice the reverse effective force equal to 148 over 300. Okay. Plug in this value. We have, okay, I think na-change lang ang sign, no, for 4/5. So we're going to make this as negative. Then the rest stay as is lang. Therefore, we have a value of 1.25. This will be the minimum class. If you position your force P lower than 1.25, then expect na gid ka nga mo overturn ni siya in a counterclockwise direction. Okay. Do you have any question? Class so far with regards to this problem? Ay pangutana? Okay, so I think silence means yes. Wala pangutana?
Sir. Wala. Wala.
Wala na? Okay. So this evening I will post an assignment now with regards to module 2. And since we already finished with module 2, we will conduct again another online class for module 3, which is all about curvilinear translation. And then expect maybe next week, expect a module exam. But, well, um, uh, wait lang class ha, wait lang.